Welcome into NHL Tonight, first shift for Wednesday, November the 12th, 2025. E.J. Hradek here, alongside Nate Thompson. Good to have you here.
Great to be here.
Thanks for being here today. I do the work, so I get ready for different guys coming in here every day. It seems like we have a different person. Found out a little fun fact. Your birthday, October 5th, you share that with Patrick Waugh and Mario Lemieux. Good company.
I knew that too.
Yeah,
I definitely knew that. Yeah, great company.
Yeah.
I make sure to remind people that I share birthdays with them.
There you go.
Yeah,
hey, listen, that's a nice. Well, they're both Quebec guys.
Yeah.
They could have been born in the same hospital, like down the hall from one another.
This is true.
What a crazy circumstance.
Two legends, same day.
There you go. Three. There you go. All right. See, you're on board. All right. Let's get to first things first. We had the Ducks. And we had the Avalanche last night. Terrific game out in Denver. The Avs get the job done, and they got to it early, getting the early goal. Dostal kind of held them in early, though.
I think, honestly, EJ, in the first period, it could have been a completely different game if it wasn't for Lucas Dostal. I thought he really kept them in it. And credit to the Ducks. I thought this game, this was a great game, like you said. I circled this game before this game was happening. Just
of course.
What was transpiring in the league and how good these teams are playing. But Lucas Dostal, you see it right here. He keeps this team in the game in the first period last night. And we talked about it before. If he doesn't play the way he does, this could have been a different game. But I liked the way the Ducks played last night. I thought that they kind of got stronger as the game went on. They might have ran out of gas a little bit. I think 3 games in 4 nights, and they're playing some pretty good teams the last few games. But overall, a really good hockey game to watch last night.
And at the other end, Scott Wedgwood had to make a bunch of good saves as well.
Yeah, he was terrific, and he has been terrific, obviously. So both teams firing all cylinders. just a fast game.
And it was a tight game. It was 1-1, more than halfway through the game, and then the Avalanche got that key goal, and then they got the power play opportunity, scored again, and that kind of separated them in the game.
Well, I think that's what it was, as you said, I think the penalties that Anaheim took at the key moments of the game, and if you're going to put Colorado on the power play advantage at those moments, we know they're too good, and in those opportunities they're going to make them pay, and they did. But like I said, great game last night. Good to see Landeskog too get his.
Yep, he got his goal, and he's going to be on NHL Now later today. So that's going to be great for us here at NHL Network. So check that out, NHL Now later today. Gabe Landeskog, who did get his first regular season goal in a long time, and he had
3 years.
He had 2 goals that were wiped out by offside challenges. That's kind of
talk about playing with your emotions, right? Having 2 goals, have them called back, and finally be happy for him because that's a long road. I've had some long injuries where I've been out for that long, and I just think with a guy like him, you can't teach the type of leadership that he has. I think having him back in their room right now, I think has made them a better hockey club. And not even on the ice. I think just having him around the room has changed their whole team a little bit.
Yeah, no question. Well, the big guys were still barking last night. Nate McKinnon had another point. So did Leo Carlsson. He scored the only goal in the game for the Ducks. So these guys are all having tremendous years. With McKinnon, we kind of expect it, right? He's in that conversation all the time. Is he the best player? Is it McDavid, right? It kind of goes back and forth. But Carlsson stepped up this year and really taken a big step for a young guy.
He's been one of my favorite players to watch right now, and when he has the puck, he makes everyone else around him better, and you're seeing some of these highlight goals he's scoring. The way, there was a play last night where he got the puck, and Colby Armstrong was talking about it, and him and Eddie Olczyk kind of had a reaction like, whoa, I can't believe I just watched that. He just takes it. It looks like he's skating downhill when he has the puck. He's big, but he's smooth, and the Ducks hit well on this one. He's looking really nice right now.
Yeah, they got a nice mix right now.
Yeah, they do.
Younger players who are outstanding with Carlson, Gauthier, some of the older guys. Trouba's playing well, and Chris Kreider. And they're getting good goaltending, as you point out. So we'll see where it goes from there for the Ducks. They're off to play, I believe it's Detroit next. So we'll see where things go. They get to see their old buddy John Gibson. So we'll see how that goes. Back east, the Boston Bruins. What a year for the Bruins. You're a Bruins draft pick, so you got to love it a little bit, right? You started with the Boston Bruins. They win the first 3 games, then they go on a losing streak. It looks like it's going to be a tough year. And now they've won 7 in a row, and they knock off the Leafs for the second time in 4 days.
Yeah, how about that, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what team we were getting at the beginning of the season, and then all of a sudden they're coming on right now, and you got to give a lot of credit to Marco Sturm, and I think it's tough. We talked about this before the show. It's a condensed schedule. You're not getting a lot of practice time right now, so the fact that he's got these guys firing all cylinders. David Pastrnak gets his 400th goal last night, which was great. But you know, they're kind of the big bad Bruins right now, and they displayed that against the Leafs last couple of games. I mean, Zadorov, the way he's playing, I mean, he's been a one-man wrecking ball out there, and they look really good right now. I mean, it's a weird division right now. We're talking about it because we don't know who we're going to get on any given night. But the Bruins right now, I got to give kudos to Marco Sturm though, because the way he's coaching these guys and the way they're playing for him, you can see it.
Yeah, no question. I want to ask you about Sturm because you played for him. You know him very well. You know the way he coaches.
Yeah.
You had a good experience with him. Bring the viewers inside. What's he like? What's he like around the players? How does he approach things?
Well, I played with Marco too in the beginning of my days, and Marco is a passionate guy. He's a fun guy. He likes to joke around, but he's also intense too. And you get that from him as a coach. You're getting the same guy you got when he was a player, and I think there's a genuine to him, and he's communicated with his players. I know. Coaching with him, I've coached with him too, and he wouldn't be afraid to bring a guy in and just talk to him, just have a chat, just talk to him about whatever's going on.
So you played on different teams, played for many coaches, right? Is that something that, because on the outside we're like, well, the coach is probably always talking to the players. Maybe that's not the case.
It's different for every coach.
Yeah.
Every coach has their own style, right?
Yeah.
And I respect that about Marco, is he's got his own style. He's being true to himself, and it's working because you're seeing these guys, they want to play for him. And I remember that. I remember coaching with them and how good he was at communicating with players and getting the most out of guys. I think you're only as good as your weakest link, and you're seeing that with the Bruins. He's playing every guy is playing well, and he's making sure that his fourth line or his 7th D is playing as well as his top guys, and that's good news for the Bruins.
And we had Billy Jaffe in yesterday, and he watches the Bruins all the time, and he was talking about why they're playing better, and he talked about they're figuring out what Marco Sturm wants them to do more in terms of their defensive zone structure. Again, take us inside there a little bit, because we throw these terms out, right? Like a zone or man-to-man, and we expect the viewers to know exactly what that means. And a lot of times they don't. What is it about what he wants in the D zone?
Well, I think we talked about, right, it's a hybrid, right?
Okay.
Where a hybrid is, if the puck is taken up above the top of the circles.
Which you see a lot now, because teams try to get you away from the net,
and they'll
right?
do misdirections, and they'll crisscross and all that, and when that happens, then it becomes a man-on-man up top. Now when the puck comes down below, then it becomes more of a zone now, and a lot of that is communication, right? We all know that you got to talk out there, and these things it's practice too, right? And they're not having a lot of practice time, so I'm sure there's more video involved, and guys are having to learn that way. So it's a little more learning on the fly, but these guys are good. They're in the NHL, and they won 7 in a row, so it looks like they figured it out.
Yeah, they really did. And I don't know if we've got the clip. Maybe Sanford could show us to us. We got the Pastrnak scores last night, and these are the little things that I'm watching for in games. He scores his 400th goal, and the whole team comes on the ice. And, if I'm upstairs and I'm in the management group for the Bruins, I love seeing this because it tells me everybody's engaged.
I love it. I mean, I had an experience like this when Steven Stamkos scored his 60th goal. And we were in Winnipeg. We were on the road.
Yeah.
And the funny part is the whole game they were booing him every time he touched the puck. And
I remember that.
And then he scores, and everyone stands up and cheers and claps, and we all go on the ice. And I think it's great. I think it shows... it's a team sport at the end of the day, right? And those guys need everyone on the team to score all those goals. So it's a team effort, but happy for David Pastrnak, but I love seeing that. I love when the whole team comes out and supports him like that.
On the flip side, for the Toronto Maple Leafs, I saw something that I don't like as much, is that, Austin Matthews ends up getting hit in the game last night by Zadorov. Now, Zadorov, the Saturday night, took a really good shot at Scott Laughton and sent him to the ice, and Matthews ends up leaving the game. Here's the hit now. I mean, it's not the end of the world kind of hit, but it's the best player on your team, and I didn't see any reaction from the Leafs.
I didn't like it. I didn't like the no reaction from anyone, and I don't care if it was a good hit or a bad hit. It's your captain, and you're playing against your rival. You're playing against the Boston Bruins.
Who just beat you the other night.
Exactly, who just beat you the day before and did the same thing to one of your other players.
Yeah.
And I just... it's perplexing to me. I didn't know what to make of it. It actually made me mad watching the game.
Because that's what I mean. You're a former player, so you have those emotions of what it's like to be on that bench in that circumstance, and your first feeling is, Somebody should do something there.
Something.
Yeah.
I mean, and good on Austin Matthews. He got up and went right back at him.
Yeah.
But it can't be him.
Yeah.
It just can't be him. And yes, there were some scuffles late in the game and things started.
But the moment is gone.
Too little, too late.
Yeah.
Too little, too late.
Yeah.
You had your opportunity. It was a decently close game. It wasn't even a close game at that point.
Yeah.
And like.
Yeah, it was 4-1.
Get in there.
Yeah.
You know, someone do something. I didn't like it. I don't know what's going on there. There's a disconnect. There's a disconnect somewhere within that locker room, or I don't know what's going on. I can't speak for it, but it just wasn't a good look.
You know, by contrast, right? Last week, Zadorov took some liberties with Matthew Schaefer of the Islanders.
Yeah.
And the Islanders, I mean, I think the fans were ready to jump out on the ice. Everybody defended the young guy. Now, he's a young kid, so maybe that plays into it. But Austin Matthews is your best player. I'm 100% with you on that. I think you got to step up and do something. Something is amiss right now. The goaltending has been really struggling. I love Stolarz, but it has been a tough start. He got hurt last night, had to leave.
Yeah.
They're waiting on Joseph Wall. Tanev is out. The defense is an older defense anyway. They're another year older. I still think they have a lot of pieces there in Toronto, and I knew it would be harder this year in the regular season because Marner's ability to score gives you that little extra in the regular season that helps you along on those nights when it's tight. But, boy, this is surprisingly troublesome right now for the Leafs.
It really is. And I'm with you, E.J. I believe, like, they have the guys, and I'm hoping that last night that doesn't happen again, and that's a one-off, and maybe, you know, they respond. I mean, they have to at this point. But it is a completely different team, and I think that's part of it is the Leafs, they're not the team they used to be the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
They're still trying to find out who they are right now because they're not the old Leafs with Mitch Marner.
Yeah, no question about it. So good night for the Bees. They're rolling. Tough night for the Leafs. Good night out west for Macklin Celebrini. They were in Minnesota to take on the Wild, and the Sharks have been playing better.
Yeah.
They're losing the game 1-0. They tie it up. They win it in overtime. That's 2 overtime wins against Minnesota, albeit different ones, 7-6 and 2-1. But how about Celebrini? I mean, I end up talking about every day. It seems like I'm talking about him, Bedard, Carlson. These
likewise.
These young guys are just so much fun. And Celebrini, the thing about for Celebrini, I've said it before on the show, for a young player to be so tuned into the 200-foot game. Reminds me of Crosby coming into the league or Forsberg years before coming into the league. That's what, to me, makes him so special.
I really love how you say that because it's how he invites contact, right?
Yeah.
Like when he's going into corners, when he has the puck, he's almost like Crosby.
Yeah.
Like you said.
He's in the battle.
He's in the battle. He wants to bring the fight. He wants guys to come to him. He wants to get in the corners. I mean, he plays like he's in his 30s.
Yeah, exactly.
Really
Paul Maurice said something
like
similar.
He's in his 30s.
They asked Maurice, they just recently played the Sharks, and he said the same thing that we're kind of saying here is that, you know, a lot of young players, they score. That's what they do. That's why they're the first overall pick. They're so talented. They get into the league, and, you know, they're on bad teams usually, and they try to keep doing that. And they have to learn how to play at the what the NHL is about. That's the thing that's impressive about Celebrini. He seems to have skipped that step. He knows what it is.
Well, and I think which is more impressive is he's learning how to win games now in different ways, right? Like they're winning games 7-6, but now they're winning games 2-1. And I think it's a testament to him. I mean, he's the best player. He's on the ice majority of the game. He's having to manage those different types of games. And we all know the best players, they know how to win in different games. And that's kind of what he's doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, the San Jose Sharks, they've won 4 games in a row. And you can see right here in their last 4 games, only giving up a goal in each of the games. Ashcroft is starting to emerge, the goaltender. They got him from Nashville, and he's a big guy. He's playing well. The Delkovich has played well as well. But you look at the standings, they're in the playoffs right now. I mean, I think at the start of the season, we wouldn't even have thought, even in November. I mean, things are going to change. But look they're sitting ahead of the Golden Knights and the Oilers. And you know what? Opening night, they played the Golden Knights, a game they should have won.
Yes, that's
that
right.
They a tough bounce for Nedeljkovic that went in on a flip in, and then the play out at the blue line when he came out in overtime. They could have had 2 points in that game, and Vegas would have had none. That margin would be even a little bit wider. So I got to give the San Jose Sharks, they got a lot of good young players, but they're moving along faster than I thought.
Way faster, and I think they would probably tell you the same thing. I mean, and just not even Macklin Celebrini, but Will Smith.
William Eklund playing well. He's just back from injury.
Kurashev, too, another guy who's been really good for him. I mean, they've had so many other
Picked him up, and he's come in and played well.
Yeah, he's been great. And then you obviously have their veteran guys like Toffoli and different guys that supplement these young guys. And they got a good thing going in San Jose. And leading the charge, though, is Macklin Celebrini. I'm with you, EJ. Every single day we're talking about him, but it's so fun to talk about him because, I mean, he's just must watch.
And you know what's funny is that people will get into this, Bedard, Celebrini debate for the Olympics or, as they move forward. And that's going to happen throughout their careers, right? Because they were first overall picks in a relatively similar time. And they're apparently from Western Canada and friendly with each other. So there'll be a little bit of rivalry there for many years, which is great for us as hockey fans. But I guess I go back to that same thing. And it's no knock on Bedard, who I just got to call his game on Sunday. He's been brilliant this year. But Celebrini, the fact that he gets what it takes to win at the NHL level as an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid, that is unusual and special and something that we have to take note of.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the intangibles, right?
Yeah.
He does all those little intangibles that you don't notice during the game that everyone else in the hockey world sees.
Yeah.
Right? And that's, maybe it's a back check here, maybe it's a board battle he wins here. And those things add up. And those things add up to wins and assists and goals and everything that comes with it. But I think with Bedard, obviously, it's, everything looks a little more sexy with the shot and the stick handling and the one-on-one play. And that's where I think, we can get in this debate all day, but I think that's where, Macklin maybe plays in the regular shift on Team Canada. Maybe Bedard's an extra.
And you know what? I think Bedard has learned a lot. Because watching the other day, his game has gone, way up. And to be fair to him, they didn't have a lot of help in Chicago the last couple of years. I think Jeff Blashill's doing a great job, and I think that Connor has made some real improvements. So we'll get to talk about the Blackhawks because they are in action tonight. In fact, we'll talk about them coming up. Hawks and Devils tonight, one of 4 games on the slate. Jack Hughes, another first overall pick. That should be a fun night in Chicago. That one's on TNT later. We'll talk about it next on First Shift.
See if the Hawks can make it 3 for 3. Here's Bedard. He's got one of those goals. Bertuzzi in front, and he scores!
Wow.
Tyler Bertuzzi off the goal line. Beats Gibson. And the Hawks strike again on the power play, and they lead it 3-1.
Time now for the NHL Edge, powered by SAP. And take a look at this. Most high-danger goals this season. NHL Edge, of course, presented by SAP. Tyler Bertuzzi, all of his have been high-danger goals this season, and he's got 6 goals in his last 3 games. So I would say that qualifies him as being hot right now.
He's hot.
He's hot.
And fuego.
And so are the Hawks right now as they host the Devils tonight. But it's good to see Tyler Bertuzzi kind of finding his role there in Chicago. The last couple of years, they've had guys that have come in there, and they've almost been mercenaries. Like, they know it's not going to go well. But now with Jeff Blashill, it seems like guys are developing roles, and he's fitting into a role.
Yeah, they're getting some stable guys to, establish positions there, right?
Yeah.
Like Bertuzzi is a guy that I think is definitely benefiting from Connor Bedard, especially on the power play.
Yeah.
I think him being down low with a guy like Bedard because of his shot, maybe it's a deception thing, right? Maybe he doesn't shoot and he passes it down to Bertuzzi. Like we said, he gets a hat trick on the power play. But the Blackhawks, I really like how they're playing. We were talking about before the show how good they look right now.
Yeah.
They're just playing different hockey. They're blocking a lot of shots, playing well defensively. I think Spencer Knight, we got to talk about him.
He's been terrific.
I think he's been terrific.
Yep.
He's been really good. So this is going to be a fun matchup tonight. You got two teams, a couple first overall picks that can play, and this will be fun to watch. But the Blackhawks are trending in the right direction, and it's finally good to see.
The thing to circle there for me is the Hawks' goals against 2.5.
Yes,
now, a lot of that is Spencer Knight. The other day it was Arvid Soderblom. He came in and played a great game against the Red Wings on Sunday afternoon. But they're getting goaltending. But it's interesting. Blashill, the coach, he's in his second real NHL head coaching job, right? He was the Red Wings coach for several years, was working in Tampa, now he gets another chance with Chicago. He's doing a lot. He's pulled a page out of John Cooper's book, the 11-7, 11 forward, 7D. And in this particular case, it doesn't work in all cases, but I think it really works well for him there because he's got some young defensemen there. They have a veteran like Murphy, a veteran like Grzelcyk, so they can kind of work with those 7D of how they're going to use guys in situations. And with one less forward, a little more time for Bedard if you want to put him in different situations. And I just think it's working really well for the Hawks right now.
No, it is. And from experience, I know as a forward, when you're playing 11 forwards, you get to feel the puck a little bit more. And those top guys are being rotated through. And you said it, E.J. You said with the defenseman having 7D, you can protect certain guys.
Yeah.
And that's what they're able to do, is they're able to protect certain guys, play certain guy, and then a guy like Bedard, he can get more touches, maybe more offensive zone chances, more offensive zone face-off opportunities, all those things that add up.
His face-offs have been better this year. That's another thing he's worked to improve. So, it's funny, I was talking to Darren Pang the other day, and he said, you win face-offs, you have the puck more. And you're an offensive player, right? You want the puck more. So that's another positive for them. But to go back to their D, they have Alex Vlasic, who I think has got a chance to be on the U.S. Olympic team. I mean, he's a long left shot defender, really good defensive defenseman, good stick. But they've got Crevier, who's another big guy with a long stick. They got Renzel, another big guy with a long stick. I saw a lot of stick on puck play in the D zone the other day. I was really impressed with it. It looks like that's a real point of emphasis for the coaching staff to those young players.
Yeah, it does. It seems like when they play in the defensive zone, they're keeping them to the outside because their D are so long and rangy.
Yeah.
And that's where I've seen, the games they play well is they're blocking a lot of shots because everything's to the outside. And you could see Blashill instilling his system in that team, and it's working because you're seeing the confidence too, like a guy like Connor Bedard. I think that makes a big difference when you have a coach come in and everyone's believing in the system, they're believing in each other. You can see the difference in his play, and it's been fun to watch.
How about the Devils from their side of things? Really good at home this year. They had their first loss on home ice the other night in overtime to the Islanders, but really good on home ice. On the road, it's been up and down. They've given up more goals, it seems like, on the road. You can see the overall numbers here. The points percentage is what matters most, and pretty darn good.
Yeah.
The Devils, when they're going, they're flying up and down the ice. Jack Hughes, Jasper Bratt. I mean, what about that matchup tonight? What do the Hawks have to be looking for with the Devils? Because the Devils can embarrass you.
Yeah, I think that the Devils, if they bring their game and they bring their depth they have, which when they were playing well at the beginning of the season, their depth was so good.
Yeah.
Right? I think when you're taking heat off of Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, these guys.
Like Mercer's your third center. When Mercer's your third center, right? That tells you have a good team.
And I was just going to say that when he was scoring at the beginning of the season like he was, I mean, they were hot, right? Like they were on a 8-game heater, right? And so I think if they can get those contributions from those guys, and then we know what Jack Hughes is going to do.
Yeah.
He is who he is, and then the goaltending situation, right? With Jake Allen's I think he's been better this year.
He's been better than Markstrom. Markstrom got hurt, missed some time, has come back. Numbers tell you Allen has played really well.
He has played well.
But Markstrom's going to have to. He's going to have to get his game back in order if they're going to make a really long push. Because I think, those are two veteran guys. They're both in their mid-30s.
Yeah, they are. And I think that's maybe if you look at their team, right, is their goaltending situation, they're a little bit older. Yeah. But you can use both those guys.
That's right.
And you said, if Markstrom gets his game going, I like this New Jersey Devils team. I think in the Metro, them in Carolina, they're kind of it right there. So this is going to be a tough game for Blackhawks tonight.
Yeah, and and there you see it. They're atop the standings in the Metro. Yeah. One guy I don't think gets enough positive attention, and he's out of the lineup now, so we'll have to see where it goes. But Dougie Hamilton, he missed time last year. People talk about Jack Hughes being out of the lineup, but that hurts you. There's no question. Yeah. But Dougie Hamilton is one of those guys in New Jersey. He plays a lot of minutes. He plays on the power play. He can play in a lot of different situations. I know people have knocked him in the playoffs. Can he get banged around in the playoffs? Maybe. But he's one of those guys, when he's not there, they miss him.
Well, we were talking about this before the show. If you take one guy, maybe it's off your D-core, or if you're forwards and you take them out of the lineup, it changes things. It changes your whole lineup. It can change, it just slots guys in different spots that maybe they're not used to, and sometimes, that can cause a little bit of inconsistency. And I think, like you said, Dougie Hamilton, he eats up so many important minutes. Yeah. Power play, he can score. You're going to have him out there if you're down a goal. You're going to have him out there if you're up a goal. So. Yeah. I mean, that is a big loss for me, and that's a good point.
And a long stick, too, again, the same thing. I mean, you played forward in the league. You know, even if the guy's not a even if you're not worried about him knocking the daylights out of you.
He's getting in the way.
He's
getting in the way.
It's annoying, right?
He's taking up space. He's getting in the way, and there's nothing more.
It's like,
nothing more.
You're like, I'm by you, I'm not by you. And now the puck's going the other way. Crazy. Anyway, Devils should be a good one tonight. TNT, the second of the doubleheader, Devils and Blackhawks. We come back. Steve Kouleas will join us. Wants to talk a little bit about that goaltender in Colorado. And it's not Mackenzie Blackwood. We'll talk with Cooley next on First Shift. Time to visit Cool's Cave. Our buddy Steve Kouleas from NHL Network Radio. Steve, good to see you. And let's get right to business here. You wanted to talk about Scott Wedgwood, who is having a really nice start to the season for the Colorado Avalanche. He was good again in their win against the Anaheim Ducks last night. .913 save percentage this year. You've been impressed with the Wedge wall.
Impressed and surprised. I mean, maybe not with this year's numbers. Going back when he arrived in Denver of December of last year, he's actually been one of the top 6 goalies in terms of save percentage in the NHL.
Wow.
And right now he's got to be the best backup because he's a starter and they're first overall. And you mentioned what he did last night as an example. It should have been, 3 expected goals. It was just 1. And obviously I think right now he's exceeding expectations, but they've allowed him to let Mackenzie Blackwood slow play because he started the season hurt and he's only been in 2 games. And the numbers are just phenomenal. I don't think they're sustainable, but here's the stat that NHL research got for me. Thanks, guys. It's great. Remember, the league average is only .897 right now, and he's been good this year and last year since he's arrived. So it's a great story. What does it mean? It gives him an option. It lets Blackwood take his time to get ready. And like I said, they're first overall in the NHL. So a nice surprise that not enough people are talking about. And I guess on paper, he's one of the best Canadian goalies in the NHL too. But I don't want to go there today.
Cool. I was listening to his post-game interview last night, and the way he broke down information and how he knew how many left-handed and right-handed players there were on the opposite team. Why do you think it's not sustainable that he can't keep this up, Kouleas?
I just think sometimes that, it's fun when you're the backup quarterback or the backup goalie, but then you think, I think the career numbers are 907, 906, which is fine. That's probably where he'll settle into. Now, he's on a very, very good team, so of course that's going to help, and he's done a great job. He's not a kid. You talked about him knowing who shoots right, who shoots left, what's going on. He's a student of the game. He'll probably sit in the middle of you guys someday as it relates to broadcasting. So listen, I want to be wrong in this regard. I'm just a realist to say if he settles down into what he's done his whole career, then that'll still be good for Jared Bednar and company. But it is a great story. And I got to be honest with you, it's a story that we have not talked about enough. I think we should have talked about it more. So I want to give him his due.
All right, Cooley, I'm going to go there anyway. Team Canada, they're looking for a goalie. Could you put him in? Could he be your 3?
Yeah, right now I got Rodor Luongo in the 3 spot. I mean, and so anyway, Wedgwood would be on a list. If you've got these numbers.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? That's the thing. He's on the list, right? I would think you'd have to consider him at least.
Why not? If I go back and do all the research, basically none of the 3s have ever played. So you have to act like maybe this year, if there were injuries, that they could. Obviously, Binnington's on the team no matter what he does. Thompson's the best goalie, and there's a spot open. Right now, I'd say Darcy Kemper would be my 3, but I would say Wedgwood, since I've got him in my segment, is my 4. How about that?
All right. Let's get on to the next thing. Let me ask you about Nazem Kadri, because the Flames, it's, listen, we all know it's been a struggle. These things happen. They're still kind of retooling, rebuilding. They've got some veteran players there, including Naz Kadri. Where do you think he could end up if, indeed, the Flames move him, which kind of makes sense that they would?
Yeah, I'm going to make a bold prediction. Like I said, Trevor Zegras would not be an Anaheim Duck. I just felt that's what, the whole Pat Verbeek, Zegras contract squabble was about. He got him at a good number. Good for Zegras in Philadelphia. In this situation, Kadri is 35. He's won his cup. He's been a great second-line center behind McKinnon when they won the Stanley Cup. And his numbers this year, I don't care about his numbers this year and his shooting percentage. He's played over 1,000 games, and he's a gamer. And if he is the number 2 behind Nick Suzuki in Montreal, or if he's the number 2 behind Sebastian Aho, or in Utah. Like, I like Barrett Hayton, but I don't know if he can put up the numbers of a quasi second line center. So the numbers in his career speak for themselves. If the Flames want to retain a little bit of salary of the 777 after this year, I think they would get more in return. Now that the cap's gone up, it's realistic. And if you're the Flames, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, EJ, Rasmus Anderson, Blake Coleman, Nazem Kadri, they're not going to be there. Go for Gavin McKenna. Rebuild. The building's coming. I'm trying to sell the Flames on the future.
And Kouleas, I agree with the Montreal one. Like, I think he would be a great fit in Montreal. Now, if they get Nazem Kadri, is there a way Montreal doesn't have to give up too much, knowing that they can retain maybe his whole contract?
Well, I mean, we're talking right now about trades in last year's deadline that certain teams maybe gave up too much. So there's going to be a market as it relates to what's gone on at the trade deadline. And I really do believe that you're not getting them for free. And the Flames retain some salary. The price will even go up. Montreal's cupboard is stacked. They got a lot of picks and prospects. And you know what? It's a spot that's open. It's a spot behind Suzuki that's open. They got a really good team and Kadri in the 2-hole. They could go on a long playoff run.
Yeah, I can even see Detroit as a possible landing spot behind Larkin as a 2 there. So who knows? But I think you're right. I think they'll have a lot of different options if you're Craig Conroy and the Flames. One more for you, Cooley, and I want to ask you about. I did the Lightning Utah Mammoth game about 2-3 weeks ago now, and Braden Point was, he had all these good chances in that game. He couldn't score. And, he has had a struggle to start the year. Now, Nate and I were talking about it. We feel like, this guy's had a big body of work. He'll figure it out. But, it's been a struggle so far for a guy that's usually pretty reliable.
Yeah, and you know what? When there's ups like McKinnon, there's downs like Braden Point. The good news is I think he can shoot the puck more. He only has 31 shots on goal. And the McKinnons of the world and Gauthiers are up there in the 74, 75 category. His shooting percentage is way below his career average. We're talking about a guy who's won, cups, and he's been there. He's on the ice when McDavid scored. He's already on Team Canada. 51, 46, and 42 goals. The surprising factor this year that he only has 3 is 2 are at even strength. And Kucherov and the other players on the team have improved their underlying numbers as the team started 1-4-2. Point still at -9. He's not going to finish the year in the minus category. He's too good to be in this situation. I'd advise him to shoot the puck more. The puck luck will go up because the shooting percentage is so. He shot 22% last year, and he's under 10% this year. So the slow start probably bugs him because so many guys in the league are at 9, 10, 11, even 12, and one's at 14 goals. He's still going to score 30+, but the slow start might cost him a solid chance at 40 and wowie numbers, in my opinion.
Yeah, Kouleas, once again, I agree with you. I think he's too good a player. If he continues to keep getting these chances, and we know he will, it's one of those things where he's going to score eventually. And I think Braden Point, like you said, he's already on Team Canada. He's one of our elite players. I just think I don't even make a thing about this. I think he's going to be fine.
We're gonna find out.
Well, yeah. And you know what? It's going to take one hot game, right? It could be an empty netter. It could be tonight, which we'll get to in just a moment. And it could be a hat-trick game that gets the numbers up. So he's too good. And if he keeps shooting, that percentage will rise, EJ. I promise you that.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. Now, we do have the Lightning in action tonight. You're teasing. I know you're going for the red light. Bring it out.
6-1. Remember, I nailed the Sabre win. I nailed the Ovi and Crosby last week.
Yes, okay.
Stevie the Macedonian is on a roll. I got Braden Point, since we're talking about him, to score tonight. There you go.
That's a good one. That is a good one because, you're not going, Crosby, Ovechkin. I mean, there's a little chalk involved there. But
they played each other. That's why I went there.
I know, but that's a good one because we're just talking. The guy's been having a little bit of a struggle, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. Real quick, how about the Lightning? Without Hedman, without McDonough, I mean, they got a bunch of guys out right now. That's not good.
They'll be fine. They got the right guy behind the bench. Trust me about that. I'm less worried about their team when they're banged up than perhaps some other teams. Oh, and I just received word Patrick Waugh says he wants his name on the list to join Luongo and Brodeur as the number 3. And it's always great to see Nate. It's just too bad that God hit him with the ugly stick, EJ. What can you do?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right, cool. On that note, we'll move you out. Have a great day, my friend.
See you
Coming
next
up,
week.
the Edmonton Oilers are headed out on the road and starts tonight in Philly. They got 7 on the road. We'll talk about the Oilers next on First Shift. Oh, yes. Nothing like a nice 7-game road trip through the Northeast for the Edmonton Oilers. Starts tonight in Philly, back-to-back. They're in Columbus, then Carolina, Buffalo, another back-to-back, Washington and Tampa. That's not so easy. That's not a short trip.
Those are some tough back-to-backs, too. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're doing back-to-backs in different cities and then you look at those back-to-backs, that's a tough trip.
Yeah, no question. And it's been I don't know what to say about the Oilers. If it's this maybe has been a good start for them compared to the last couple of years where they had some worse starts, but it hasn't been a good start, and now they're without Nugent Hopkins. He's out of the lineup. It looks like they're going to get Hyman back, definitely for Saturday, maybe even as soon as tomorrow night in Columbus. So those are the positives. But this is a kind of important 7-game trip for the Oilers to kind of get things going in the right direction. As we sit right now, they're on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I would say this road trip is a big indicator where they're going to be at as we say American Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
right? And I think that this road trip hopefully can get them going in the right direction because I don't want to say it's a team thing because we know what Connor McDavid is going to do. He did it last game.
Yeah.
But we need we need everybody though, right? You need everyone for this road trip. They're gonna need everybody for this road trip, especially with the teams they're gonna be playing. So, but like you said, getting Hyman back is a boost. But it's just, they're flirting. They're flirting with danger here.
Yeah.
Big
As
time.
they've done the last couple of years. What did you make of McDavid's the spin-around goal the other night? Because that's one of those ones. I was watching it in real time, and it's just I felt so bad for Matejchuk because that highlight is going to be living forever. But Connor is just, he's spectacular.
I think that's all it was. I think we're so spoiled because we get these highlight reel goals all the time.
Yeah.
And that was another one. But it's just, that's a goal that nobody else can score.
Yeah.
In the league. There's There's very few guys that can do that at that speed and the way he does it. He gets it. His head is up the whole entire way, and he's skating, stick handling that fast. He's just
here it is.
You see it right here. Yeah, I mean it makes it look so easy, right? His head's up the whole time. Stop. Backhand. I mean, it's a backhand too.
Yeah.
He's shooting a backhand far side.
Yeah.
So. He's special. He's McJesus.
And that other play that he made, that was another nice goal. He identified Marchenko as a forward back, and he said, "Well, I'm going to go right around you."
Yeah.
And he did, and he ends up going in and scoring. So a lot of it is on him. A lot of it is on Draisaitl. But again, like you said it, and it's been a theme of the show today, and it's been we talked about it earlier. It's such a team game.
It is.
And as great as McDavid is, as great as Draisaitl is, they're not on the ice all the time. No. And when they're not on the ice, bad things can happen for the Oilers. So this is an important trip. And, they get Columbus tomorrow night, who they just played on Monday. Columbus will be coming back from a trip. That's the second of a back-to-back. For those of us who had never played, we talk about it a lot. We look at the numbers. You lived it. You alluded to it before. On the road. It's not a long trip from Philly to Columbus, but it's still a trip.
Yeah, and you're getting in at late hours of the night too, right? There's so many different factors and variables that go into playing a back-to-back in two different cities. It could be time change too. You could be losing an hour, gaining an hour.
Did you like it? Did it, for you personally, did you feel like it didn't bother you? Did you feel like some guys it did affect?
I think the only time it would affect me is if we were going from two different road cities and there was a time change.
Okay.
But sometimes I love back-to-backs.
Yeah.
Sometimes I felt better on a second game of back-to-back than I did the first one. It just depends. But I think for this team, though, I mean, you get into a long road trip and you're going onto a second back-to-back at the end of a road trip, these things, they add up, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I say, Connor and Leon, I'm never going to count the Edmonton Oilers out because of those.
You can't.
Because of those two guys.
Yeah.
But in instances like this, where they're not going to have the last change on a road trip like this, so Connor and Leon aren't going to be able to be on the ice all the time. So they're going to need depth, and they're going to need the rest of the team to to make this a good road trip.
And the goaltending, I look at the numbers: 884 for Skinner, 836 for Cal Pickard. So those numbers have to be better, and they've got to play better in front of them. So we'll see how things play out. I talk about goaltending. The poor Canucks, they get bad news. Here's a tweet from Frank Sarvalli. Some relatively positive news for the Canucks on Thatcher Demko this morning. Early indication is that Demko is expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks with a minor injury. It is unrelated to a previous knee injury and unrelated to why Demko took maintenance days last week. So I guess positive from the standpoint that it's not too long, but in a year where the schedule is condensed so much, and this is a guy, I mean, he's already started 10 games for the team. He's over 900 save percentage, and when he's good, he can be very, very good. 2 to 3 weeks might be the difference in the Canucks at the end, finding those points they need to maybe get into the playoffs.
And this is the biggest thing for Demko is health, right? And I think he's been talking his way onto the Four Nations, the Olympic roster.
Into the picture a little bit, right?
He has, and this is probably going to hurt him a little bit, right? Being injured for this long. And this team, the Vancouver team, it's odd team, right? Like they've been playing well, then they get injuries. I mean, and the big thing too is Quinn Hughes staying healthy as well. I mean, that's a factor for their team. But not having Demko, it's going to be tough for them. You know, they're going to be treading water a little bit. It's tough because Demko, for them, they're going to need him to win hockey games.
Yeah.
Right. And having him out for that long period of time, it's going to be tough.
And you can see there now it's tight in the division, except for the Flames, who are at the bottom there, and they're leading the Gavin McKenna sweepstakes at this point. But I mean, it's tight for everybody, but you can't afford. It's like we talked to the Oilers. I mean, they've got 7 games in 11 days, the Oilers. This is a key stretch of time in the season, and the Canucks to be without their starting goaltender in this stretch is tough for them. So it's going to be fascinating. I've said it all year. We were talking about it earlier. This is going to be a bumpy ride for everybody this year. We got a tougher schedule. You got all these young kids that are pushing their way into the conversation, that are playing great hockey. We got the old guard of guys who are still, their best games maybe are ahead of them this season, right?
Look at Corey Perry right now.
Yeah, Corey Perry. They're all oldest of the old guys playing really well. Yeah. A great note I got from Matt Duchesne last year was, this time of the year, good teams aren't as good as they're going to be, and bad teams aren't as bad as they're going to be. And I understood what he was talking about there, and I don't know what that separation is going to be this year, because I think all these teams are really close. Really, really close. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen the parity in the league like it is right now. Yeah. And I know Bruce has told you about this, Bruce Boudreau, our coworker. Yeah. And I was on that colleague.
Team, a colleague. And
Your former boss.
Former boss. Yeah. And I was on that team in Anaheim. We started, I think we were last place in November, ended up winning the division that year. But he's right. I mean, teams will continue to get better throughout the season. I think like a team like Anaheim Ducks, like defensively, they haven't been great to start the season, but they're scoring a lot of goals. But teams are going to continue to get better. I mean, that's the season. It's a process. Yeah, for sure. But you know what? It's a good ride for us to be on. We'll be watching all the way right to the end as we head towards the Stanley Cup in June. When we come back, Rangers in action tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning. That means Kucherov and Panarin. That's a good matchup. We'll talk about that next on First Shift. Global Series, Penguins and Predators over in Stockholm for a pair of games Friday at 2 Eastern Time. Afternoon hockey on Friday, Sunday 9 a.m. Both games right here on the NHL Network. Looking forward to that matchup this weekend in Sweden. Tonight, we've got the New York Rangers and the Tampa Bay Lightning taking eye at one another in Tampa. That game is going to be on TNT. And the season comparison board, I don't think it really tells the whole story because of the Rangers situation. No. So good on the road, so bad at home, although they did break through against Nashville on Monday night, so we'll see if they can carry that forward. And the Rangers have been very good on the road, and they get a Tampa Bay team. To say they're dinged up is an understatement. I mean, no Hedman, no McDonough. It looks like no Cirelli. Dominic James, a good young player, he's out. Holmberg is out. I mean, this is definitely a skeleton crew for the Lightning. From your perspective as a former player, how did you handle games like this when a lot of the high-end players are out of the lineup and like everybody kind of expects you to lose? Well, I think it's it's an opportunity for the Rangers, first off.
Yeah.
Is how you have to
take
look
advantage.
At it. Take advantage. You can't take them lightly because those guys are out. It's an opportunity that you can go on the road and take 2 points and get out of there and be like, okay, we got those 2 points. We needed those. As for the Lightning, you know, and it's cliche, but you have to believe in your structure. You got to believe in your game plan. All those things. I know it sounds cliche, but those things, when you're depleted, you have to follow those things because that's how you win games. And I know that John Cooper will instill that in his team tonight. And they still have some talent.
Yeah,
Braden Point,
Kucherov.
They got Kucherov. They got some guys that can still put the puck in the net. So Gensel, to name another one. So I expect a good game tonight. But I think when we talked about before the show, EJ, is the Rangers having Vinny Trocheck back.
Big plus, right?
Huge plus.
Yeah.
And I think that changes their whole lineup. I think it changes their team.
Yeah.
And hopefully after last game, this gets them going.
Trocheck now slides in with Panarin.
Yeah.
Very comfortable. Miller, Zibanejad. Now you have your 2 lines. You can move Cooley then back to the 3rd line where he really belongs. Then your 4th line slots in nicely.
Everyone slots in their spots.
Way better, right?
Everyone's back in their spots, and the team, like I said, when you look at their lineup with Trocheck in, you go,
Yeah.
It looks a lot better. It looks a little more whole now, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
And I think when you see that, and hopefully after last game, they can get some momentum, and maybe we get a win streak from the Rangers.
Yeah, because
they start scoring goals.
Because they have been, to your point, they've been really good on the road. I mean, they went into Detroit last Friday and beat the Red Wings, and I talked to Alex Tanguay, and he said, hey, they played really well. Then the next night, they got shut out at home by the Islanders. So one player in a league where 32 teams, talent is stretched out, one player can kind of make such a difference, and Trocheck looks like that guy for the Rangers. We'll see if he can keep it going tonight.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
I hope he does.
Well, if you're a Ranger fan, you're holding. You're a Lightning fan, you're like,
hey,
no.
Former Lightning player.
That's
here,
right.
So
you had the early John Cooper, right?
I did. I was there with Cooper when he first came in, right from Norfolk.
That's right.
When he came Norfolk.
He'd always been successful at coaching, and boy, the early Coop.
The rest is history now.
That's right. Yeah, John Cooper done an unbelievable job. Team USA, Team Canada tonight. Mike Sullivan, Team USA, Ranger bench.
There you go.
John Cooper, Team Canada on the Lightning bench. Should be a lot of fun. Great night of hockey ahead of us with the 4 games, doubleheader on TNT. Stay tuned for NHL Now. We're going to have Gabe Landeskog on the program. That'll be a lot of fun to watch. Nate, thank you for coming in. Stop in more often.
I will. Thanks for having me. I'll be back.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Have a good night.